get some headlines. Headlines from across the state. A lot of transfers to start with. We're going to start with the big one. The biggest one, I think, is that Texas Tech.
McGuire's doing something.
He's
up to something.
They're on the move here. They have added in a transfer from Texas A&M, Baylor Cup.
Can we just acknowledge the fact real fast that this is Tech adding a kid named Baylor from A&M? That's a lot.
A lot of things going on here.
It's a lot.
This is a guy who was a 5-star tight end, coming out of Brock. He was a big-time prospect coming out of Brock. It was a big get for A&M whenever they hauled him in. His 2019 and 2020 seasons were just injury-ravaged. He couldn't get on the field. 2021, he played a little bit, got on the field, entered the transfer portal, 6'7", 240.
I feel like that's pretty good.
I'll just say this. When he's healthy, he's an absolute weapon.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't been healthy. So he's getting an opportunity out there at Tech. Joey McGuire hauls in Baylor Cup from Texas A&M. That's a big get there for the Red Raiders. The Longhorns of Texas added a transfer as well. This one, a big-time receiver from Alabama. Agier Hall, I believe is how you say it. Agier Hall.
That feels right.
Was he's a Florida kid. He went to Alabama. He's a 4-star prospect in the 2021 recruiting class.
Okay, so he was not there when Sarkisian was OC.
No.
I didn't know if this was like a leftover.
No.
Product.
He was probably. Now here's the thing. He was 2021 guy, so it's possible that Sarkisian had a hand in recruiting him.
Yeah.
But
he hasn't been coached.
Correct.
Yeah.
In any case. He was the number 45 prospect in the nation back in the class of 2021. He has transferred from Alabama to Texas. He was the fifth ranked wide receiver in that cycle in 2021. For reference, Xavier Worthy was 8th.
Oh, okay.
So you're doing some big things there.
Yeah.
He was recruited by Steve Sarkisian, but he doesn't necessarily have that kind of he doesn't have that hands-on coaching with him. But he will now, as Agier Hall, the wide receiver from Alabama, is transferring to Texas. It'll make week 2 a little interesting.
Yeah, it will.
Even more interesting. Texas is not all been in for Texas.
There's a lot of influx.
There's been some out.
Osmosis.
And by the way, the next couple of weeks, the next week or so, is going to be like crazy. It's going to be a lot of transfers.
Because the transfer portal cuts off May 1st.
Yes.
So this is like realistically the last week.
A lot of movement here in the next week. But Texas has a couple of transfers heading out. One of them for Houston, a big pickup. They pick up offensive tackle Tyler Johnson. I think he is probably going to start at right tackle for them this year. At least I think he's going to be their best option at right tackle. So they pick up Tyler Johnson. That's a big get for Houston. He's transferring to Texas, or to Houston rather. And Alvonte Woodard, a wide receiver from Texas, has transferred to Sam Houston.
That Austin to Houston pipeline is running deep.
Big get for Sam as they bring in Alvonte Woodard, who should be a big-time playmaker for them. So then there was a report. I don't know if you saw this. There was a report from Don Harris. Don Harris, of course, the venerable sports anchor down there in San Antonio, and a guy who knows his stuff. There is he's tweeted. I'll just read his tweet from yesterday. Sources confirm that Brendan Brady has informed UTSA football that he would like to return for one final season as a graduate student. Welcome news after injuries ravaged the running back room during the spring. This is true. Obviously, they're down a number of running backs there. They lost Sincere McCormick to the NFL draft. It was Was it Cater Cobbs who got hurt? They were going to be pretty thin in the running back. If they were to get Brendan Brady back, if he wants to play another, because he was, I believe, I don't know what his situation was, but he does have 1 year of eligibility left.
Yes.
That if he wants to, thanks to the COVID year, if he wants to come back as a graduate student, he can play. So that would certainly be welcome news if Brendan Brady is going to return for 2022.
If nothing else, just some veteran leadership there when they lost so much.
A veteran guy in the backfield would be huge. On to the high school ranks. I don't know if we talked about this. We might not have.
This is wild. I don't know how I feel about this one.
So Childress, of course, had a – well, I don't want to say of course. It kind of depends on what you think of it. But Childress had a pretty good year last year.
Yeah.
Childress went 9-0 in the regular season, finished the regular season undefeated. But, of course, they were on the wrong end of one of the biggest upsets in recent playoff history when fourth seed Stanton beat them in the first round of the playoffs. They finished 9-1. Now comes news that Childress has reassigned Coach Jason Sims.
It's wild.
This is pretty weird, I'll be honest. Because this is a coach who knows what he's doing. He's 61-22 in 7 seasons.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's a couple of questions I have. One of them is, like, really? That's one question. Secondly, let's say, because I know how this looks. This looks like, oh, you spit the bit in the playoffs, and so
you're done.
You're done, right? Okay, if that's how you feel, why are you doing this on April 13th?
Yeah, that. So what is there that we don't know?
Why are you doing this on April 13th? I get, like, if you're mad that you guys got bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
Okay, that's dumb. He's a really good coach. They had a bad game. It happens.
Yep.
But if that's your prerogative, why would you wait until April when all of the other great coaches, not all of them, but a lot of them are off the market?
Yep.
Or they're like a lot of the coaches you would go after are not going to do it on such short notice.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's one thing to demand high performance and
I get Childress,
want to
and
win.
Childress is a town that has high expectations.
Yep.
They want to win at the highest level.
Yeah, but to sit there and I don't know what that's teaching the kids at that point. Like, you can't just pull their coach after one game. Imagine how that makes them feel. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's something else
cool.
going on. Right now, it sure smells like it's just people who are mad.
Yeah, that sounds like small town politics written all over it.
Anyway, Childress is looking for a new head coach. Elsewhere, Georgetown Eastview has named a head coach. You may remember a couple of weeks ago when Willis came open. Willis, Coach Mike Wall, led them to the playoffs in his first. He was there for 3 seasons. First 2 years as a 6A program led them to the playoffs. He departed. They brought in Trent Miller from Spring. He has found a landing place at Georgetown Eastview. Georgetown Eastview was looking for a head coach after Jared Feacock left to go take over at Cuero. So Feacock to Cuero, Mike Wall to Georgetown Eastview. Pretty good get there for the Patriots as they bring in Mike Wall, who is probably best known. He's going from Willis to Georgetown Eastview. This is a return to that kind of greater Austin area.
Yeah.
You may remember he really made a name for himself as the offensive coordinator at Lake Travis. So getting back to Central Texas makes a lot of sense for him. He was
super nice guy.
And it was at Georgetown, I should say, before that, so kind of makes sense. He's got a history there. Tulia's hired a head coach. Tulia, the Hornets, have hired Oscar Murga. Oscar Murga is the defensive coordinator from Lubbock High. After Stephen Corsi was reassigned after 2 seasons, Oscar Murga is the new head coach there at Tulia. Jewett Leon has made a hire. This is we're kind of rounding out coaching search season.
Yeah.
There's only a few open positions at this point, but Jewett Leon has hired Normangee assistant Derek Thomas to be their new head coach. Charlotte's made a hire. Charlotte has brought in San Antonio Wagner offensive coordinator Ben Jacobs to be their head coach after Sean Val was out after 2 seasons with the Trojans. And then Lockney. Lockney's made a hire. Lockney has hired Ryan McAllister. Ryan McAllister was most recently the offensive coordinator there at Idalou. So we'll have a new head coach out there at Lockney, 2A Division 2. It is Ryan McAllister, former Idalou offensive coordinator. And then, Pickle.
Football.
We had football this weekend.
We did.
Underwear football.
Greg Powers was out there.
Out there, and by out there, you mean in Melissa.
Yes.
For the first 7-on-7 state qualifying tournament.
Yeah.
2022. Melissa had the first one. And we got a great piece up on TexasFootball.com from Greg Powers about, I believe, 4 different quarterbacks that really impressed him. So you can go check that out. We do have our first 2 qualifiers for the state tournament. They are Colleyville Heritage, who beat Flower Mound Marcus in the state qualifying round, and Wichita Falls Rider, who beat host Melissa in the state qualifying round for their spot to punch their ticket to College Station.
That's
we have
big
our first
doings there for Rider.
Yeah, for sure. We have our first 2 tickets punched. Colleyville Heritage and Wichita Falls Rider are heading to College Station this summer for the state 7-on-7 tournament, which I guess we can say again. You can watch live on TexanLive.com.
Yeah, buddy.
We're doing it again.
We're back.
So, Anyway, congratulations to Colleyville Heritage and Wichita Falls Rider. They're off to College Station this summer.
Much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.